So now with Peacemaker Season 2 wrapping up yesterday, we are now basically out of the DCU era for 2025. And honestly, it was really, really good. James Gunn basically gave us a full appetizer, main course, and dessert for the DCU. And I'm very excited. And I think it was honestly a massive win. So now let's get into ranking these three projects that have the first three projects of the DCU. This is going to be something I'm going to be doing at the end of every year whenever we are basically done with the mainline DCU content. So let's get into it with number 3 being Creature Commandos Season 1, the first project of the DCU, which what I call as like the appetizer of the whole universe. I honestly really did love it. I loved the animation of the show. James Gunn does really good, as always, with making unknown characters feel very connected with real life people. I really loved how each episode of the seven episodes had each of the characters' backstory. How like episode 1 kind of focused more on Rick Flag Sr., who we will talk about, and how like each episode followed a different commando and how it showed a bit of their origin and all that stuff. I really did enjoy that. The action was incredible, but the main thing that held this show back for me was the very ending of it, where like the whole twist of Alana being the actual villain. I think that was just something that just really confused me. And I'm just gonna say this now: the fact that James Gunn was able to write Creature Commando Season 1, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2 all within the span of 1 year is insane, and in my opinion is one of the reasons why I feel like the Creature Commandos Season 1 finale and Peacemaker Season 2 finale didn't really hit well with a lot of people. But for me personally, I really did enjoy the ending of it overall. I was very sad when Nina died. And I am honestly really excited to see what's going to happen for the future of the Creature Commandos, because obviously we know that Season 2 is going to be coming. And James Gunn confirmed that there is a writer's room. He will not be writing this season himself. There's going to be a writer's room set for the show. And I am excited to see what's going to happen. If anything, I think we might get Season 2 maybe at the end of next year and at the end of 2026, because James Gunn said in an interview today, that I believe in an interview like today, that there are already a few episodes into writing. So I'm very sure we're going to get Season 2 within some point late 2026, maybe early 2027 at the earliest, and at the earliest maybe. Then coming in at number 2, I have, as of yesterday, Peacemaker Season 2. Now, we're going to talk about that finale in a little bit, but for the rest of the show itself, I absolutely loved it. I loved this show so much. I think, I'm going to say this, I loved Peacemaker Season 2 a lot more than I loved Peacemaker Season 1 because of just how character-driven this season was. James Gunn absolutely poured his heart and soul into these characters of the 11th Street Kids. Seeing Chris basically go almost the entire season without using his suit was just really, really good. I think the only episodes where he had his suit on the entire time was in episode 7 and 8, I believe. No. Episode 7 was when was the only time where we saw him have his suit on the entire time, which is something I really did enjoy. The whole story of just like Chris kind of using the multiverse to go to another dimension to try to see how life would be like for him in that one, which is really interesting. And in my opinion, I think despite how we're still in the multiverse era of comic book movies and TV shows, I think Peacemaker Season 2 was one of the better ways to handle the multiverse, as it helped the character move forward with their own arc, and it wasn't just some sort of plot device. All the other 11th Street Kids, Amelia Harcourt, John Economos, Leota Adebayo, and Agent Chase, aka Vigilante, were all incredible as always. Oh, and let's not forget our boy Eagly, who is apparently one of the most powerful members of the 11th Street Kids, or should I say Checkmate, as the season ends with the 11th Street Kids basically becoming Checkmate, who are a team in the comics. I don't know too much about them, but I think I really like how the 11th Street Kids basically have quit Argus, and they are going to become their own thing, with the inclusions of Agent Flurry, who was just insanely funny this whole show, and I really hope that we see more interactions between him and Vigilante, because that one little scene we had of them in the finale was just pure comedy. Sasha Bordeaux, who is also a new character introduced, who I hope we get to see more of in like maybe Batman, because I know that she's like a Batman related character, so I hope we see her in Brave and the Bold. And obviously our favorite short king fighter person, Judo Master. I really did enjoy his fight scenes, and I also enjoyed the role he served in the show, also now becoming a member of Checkmate. That ending with Rick Flag Sr., I know people are very conflicted with how Rick Flag Sr. has been this whole season, but in my opinion, I think story-wise, it does make sense as to why Flag did what he did by sending Chris to Salvation as like his first prisoner. The man basically spent 6 months trying to get justice for his son, and now that he has basically gone to the point where vengeance is all he can think about, Lex Luthor basically manipulating him is the best thing to happen for him, for right now, Rick Flag Sr. I think is our main antagonist of the overarching storyline of the DCU, and I am intrigued to see what's going to happen in the future for his character. I would not be surprised if we see Rick Flag Sr. return in Creature Commando Season 2 or Man of Tomorrow, so that's going to be fun to see what's going to happen with that particular storyline. And aside with how the finale ended, I think the story was just so good, and I am just very excited to see what's going to happen in the future. But of course, we have number one being Superman. This was the film that basically had a lot to live up to. Over 10 years without a new Superman movie. James Gunn and DC and Warner Brothers were riding on this film to succeed, and boy, did it succeed. David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult were all terrific in their respective roles of Superman, Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor. And speaking of terrific, the incredible additional cast characters of Eddie Cathegi as Mr. Terrific, Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, who, even though we didn't get too much of it, I did enjoy what we had of her. I really hope that we get more of her in Man of Tomorrow. And of course, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, was just so good. And Anthony Carrigan also as Metamorpho was all good. This film just felt like a true comic book brought to life, and Superman, in my opinion, has got to be one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. I can say with confidence that it is in my top 10, just because of how incredible it is. The score is always just hits, and in my mind, every now and then, every day, I'll just think the score of Superman will just randomly pop into my head. I'll just be like da 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 da. That'll just randomly break into my mind. I'll just be like, damn, I want to watch Superman again, and I might even watch Superman after I'm done making this video. But just the action from this whole movie was incredible. The story was so good. Just everything about it was just so beautiful. And James Gunn, you could tell that this was something that meant so much to him, because this film, in a way, was a love letter for his dad. And I know people were very meh on the whole Kryptonian harem thing that Gunn made, but I feel like it adds such an interesting dynamic for the House of L, and that's something that I really hope we get to see more in Supergirl, as we'll see, okay, Jor-El and Lara, it didn't seem like they were the best people, but did all the Kryptonians have that ideology? Did Kara's parents have that ideology? And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how we explore more of that story. And obviously, we can't talk about Superman without talking about my boy Krypto. Krypto, the super dog, he was the king. He was so adorable throughout this whole movie. The chaos he ensued and was just incredible. And I really loved how James Gunn used Krypto, had Krypto be inspired by his real life dog Ozen, something like that. I might have butchered. I know I butchered the name, but I just really love this. I just really love the movie. The movie was just so beautiful, and I am so excited to see what James Gunn is going to be cooking up with Man of Tomorrow, which comes out in 2027, which I'm almost 1,000% certain is going to be a Lex Luthor film more than it is a Superman film, and which explains why Superman he'll have a large role, but he won't be the main character, because I think Lex Luthor is going to be our main character with that movie, and I think it's just going to be so interesting to see how it goes. And overall, that is my ranking. That's just my overall thoughts on the DCU right now. Next year, we have Lanterns, Supergirl, and Clayface all releasing within 2026, and maybe, hopefully, Creature Commando Season 2. 50-50 of whether that actually happens. But that was my ranking for the DCU so far. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the DCU so far, and let me know down of your ranking. I know that I'm going to have a lot of people kind of, not trash talk me, but kind of give me their own opinions about what they thought of the finale, because that's what happened when I posted my review last night. But overall, I really hope that you guys are excited for the DCU, because I know I am. James Gunn, he's brought so much life into this universe already, and I'm so excited to see what other creatives are going to be doing next year. Anyway, that was my video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Josh from Ray's Reviews, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.